Hi everyone, welcome to the stream. So, as you probably have noticed, I had to re-finish the game because it didn't save that I completed it. So, what I think you have to do is you continue up here, but you have to, the moment you click continue here, you gotta save into a new slot already. So I'm gonna save here. Yeah, see, oh yeah, see there's an icon now. Alright, so I'm gonna be doing all the alternate endings, so I need to figure out how to do that. Oh wait, this is new, this is new. Give it to sleep. I watched as a casual and then okay. Surge. Wait, Surge, I'm talking to you. My head jerked upward and I snapped back to consciousness. Idiot that I was, I had managed to drift off. Okay, sleep, follow kid, go to the study. Okay. As I came to my back to my senses, I looked up to see the hulking shadow of Lynx's manor looming over us. Wakey wakey, sleepyhead, we got work to do. Her word had hardly reached me before she jumped onto the terrace and disappeared within. Ah! Wait up, kid. Flustered, I rushed after her. Wait. Corridor stretched off to the left and right. Okay. It only was only happened to see it. A soft glimmer of light. At least I thought that was what I saw. A gentle glow coming from the decorative window close to the ceiling. But as much as I strained my eyes to try and catch it again, I couldn't. Oi, Serge! You better not be sleeping on the job. We'll leave you for the guards to find. Ken and McGill were already far down the passageway. How long had I been standing there? I rushed after them. It was way too early. Oh, I clicked too fast. My bad. The corridor stretched off to the left. Okay. It's going left first. Yeah. Uh, Side patches to the left. This should be the study. Okay. So skipping a lot of these texts are probably a repeat of before. So I'll try reading the ones that, or reading out loud the ones that are new. I wonder which of death is started to return to found neatly. Not even a looker. Yeah, the same. Riddle? Miguel happened to appear next to me, whispering a woman's name. Okay, this is new. He stared at the portrait in astonishment. What's up, Mag? My question seemed to break the portrait's hold on him, and his head came up with a start. He quickly returned to his usual emotionless self. Nothing. We probably shouldn't have even bothered asking. He wasn't exactly the forthcoming type. Time is of the essence. We are wasting it. Let us look elsewhere. Turning on his heel, McGill made for the door. Jen and I looked at each other in confusion. What's up with him all of a sudden? Don't ask me. Hey Mag, wait for us. We followed him out of the study. Alright, so now go to Riddle's room. The good thing is, like, I know what the map looks, or I know where all the directions go, I'm pretty sure, so I don't have to use, like, the guide map anymore, which is great! Alright. This is also where you get to hear the music stuff. We found ourselves in a tiny walking room. The knickknacks are curious, love, blah blah, something about, yeah, National Literature. Is someone there? A woman's voice. We immediately hit ourselves. What appeared from the deeper within the room? Not her. It was like his daughter. Strange. Okay. When I saw it, the shadows began to flicker and shake. It was it McGill? It was. He seemed to step out of thin air. Riddle was stunned at the sudden appearance of a strange man in her room. We couldn't let her panic and call for help. Had to think something. Evening, ma'am. Don't mind us. We're just some friendly neighborhood thieves. I had to convince her we were nice kind of thieves and not the kind that would leave her in a cupboard with a black eye while we made off with all her valuables. Well, to tell the truth, we're thieves. I've come to steal your heart, me lady. Oh, this is the origin of the Phantom Thieves? Alright. Where did that come from? I was making a complete fool of myself. Where did that come from? That's the creepiest chat-up line I've ever heard in me life, said Kid, aghast. Alright, why don't you introduce us then? Fine. And Kid, the gentlewoman thief. Stand and deliver. You were really making a mess of this. The more we babbled, the wider Riddle's face grew. Who are you people? He was terrified. McGill's eyed her compassionately and spoke in a gentle, reassuring tone I've never heard him use before. I'm sorry that we startle you. We mean you no harm. Please remain calm. But his words had no effect. Riddle raised her voice. Thieves! Burglars! Stay away! He was about to scream for help. We had to do something. We just had to knock her out. Wait, did I do something wrong? I was reaching for a knife, meaning to knock her out with the butt of the weapon, when Kid stayed my hand. It's getting knocked out. You better let me do it. You'll only wind up killing the poor girl. Riddle noticed the two of us holding knives and fervently whispering to each other. Furtively whispering each other, and raised her hands to her face in distraught horror. Meanwhile, a furious McGill walked briskly toward us and slapped our weapons out of our hands. What? What? But if you're not, then who are you? McGill's intervention had saved Riddle from an uncomfortable predicament, and it hadn't left her any less confused. He looked away, seemingly unable to bring himself to a reply. What are you playing at, Mag? You trying to get us caught? He had spoken a low growl, staring daggers at McGill. His shoulders slumped. Then he took a deep breath and turned to Riddle. Riddle, you had a best friend as a child, yes? A young boy? She stared at him, lost in thought, and then her face came alive with recognition. Can't be. Gilbert? What? You know each other? Yelled Kid in surprise, despite herself. Oh, Gil, it really is you. It's been so long. Riddle tenderly grasped McGill's hand. The moment she did, something in the shadows surrounding him changed. It was all of a sudden. I've always wondered what became of you. Always worried for your sake. His voice. Oh, nope, that's McGill's talking. It was all of a sudden. I've always wondered what became of you. Always worried for your sake. His voice was tender and filled with emotion. Unnerved by the sudden change in him, Kid butted in. Oi, Mag! We're here for the Frozen Flame, remember? Or is that just your nickname for this old flame of yours? The Frozen Flame? Gasped Riddle. It's true, that was my goal. Until I found you. That was not the McGill I knew. A sense of foreboding came over me, and I looked over at Kid. She looked back, seemingly feeling the same way. We turned to McGill again in silence. Our having met tonight is no less than destiny. Fate has brought us together once more. His words became increasingly passionate, making him almost unrecognizable. I started to feel like I might be losing my marbles. I couldn't keep up with this sudden transformation. Kid was shaking her head in disbelief, equally baffled by the scene unfolding before us. But McGill's strange behavior only escalated, testing our connection with reality even further. Ever since I was a child, I have thought only of you. He said, offering Riddle his hand. He batted it away. Wait, no, what are you doing? This is all so sudden. I promise you, Riddle. Did I not vow that one day we would be wed? McGill was trembling with emotion. Her gaze and looked down the floor. I wonder if she might have someone else. Riddle drew back from McGill, and it felt as if chill had descended upon the room. Could it be that you no longer love me? Is there someone else? He demanded, clearly beside himself. Why do you have to be so horribly blunt? Riddle's shoulders slumped. She looked as if she was about to burst into tears. Pull your boots, Mag. The old green-eyed devil routine ain't exactly sexy, mate, remarked Kid, trying in her own unique way to diffuse the situation. Reckon you might be best off sticking a cork in it for now, judging by your sweetheart's face. She's one more of her little outbursts away from a nervous breakdown. I just can't stand to leave her like this. He couldn't tear his eyes away from his beloved. Kid clearly wanted this to be over with so we could get back to work. But she swallowed her obvious annoyance and slapped him amiably on the shoulder in what she seemed to think might be a persuasive manner. Unfortunately, Riddle completely misread the display of camaraderie, and immediately fixed McGill with an accusing glare. Perhaps you could explain your relationship with your little playmate here before you next demand my hand in marriage. What? Oh, that's Miguel. What? She's just a friend from work, I swear, stammered Miguel. In a panic, he shoved Kid over toward me and continued. I have pledged my undying love to you and you alone. How could this common brute of a girl compare to your scintillating beauty? I covered Kid's mouth with my head before she could yell out her protest, wincing as she bit me. Kid, this is only going to get worse if you interfere. Somewhat to my disbelief, Kid got the message and settled down. Not before leaving some impressive bite marks on my hand, though. McGill's honey words, meanwhile, seemed to have an effect on Riddle. Oh, Gilbert, scintillating? Really? What? How had a cheesy line like that managed to work? Really and truly, you are even more enchanting than when we last met. So much so that, while I am delighted, I could not also help but worry. Gross. I was completely taken aback by the whole corny exchange. This is a million miles from a McGill I knew. Well, I thought I knew. Luckily, before they could go any further, a middle-aged woman drifted to us from deeper within Riddle's chambers. Lady Riddle, is something the matter? I heard a commotion and came running. Riddle's maid entered the room and color drained from her face as she laid eyes on us. Ah! My lady! Riddle rushed to calm her handmaid before things got even more out of hand. Noella! Don't panic, it's only Gilbert. You remember him, don't you? As soon as she heard his name, her entire attitude changed. The look of horror on her face slowly melted into a smile, and she stepped closer to McGill as one would to greet a dear old friend. Why, Master Gilbert! What a fine young figure of a man you've become. Give me strength. It slumped to the floor, clutching her head in her hands. McGill, meanwhile, exchanged polite pleasantries with the maid as if nothing could have been more normal. What the heck was he thinking? You're not planning on selling us out, are you? I only muttered my thoughts under my breath, but Kid heard me anyway. You better bloody not be. Oi, McGill! What the heck you think you're playing at? We don't have time for this, said Kid, snapping out of her brown steady. The maid had barely noticed Kid until now. She took one look at her in her face and turned white as a sheet. Who is this unseemly girl? You must forget my rudeness. Oh, you must forgive my rudeness, Miss Noella. Allow me to introduce my two colleagues, Kid and Serge, he purred without missing a beat. Oh goodness, then it's me who's been rude. I hope you can forgive me. I'm Noella, Lady Riddle's personal maidservant. Oh, nice to meet you. Kid and I bowed awkwardly, immediately cursing ourselves for playing along with this farce. I've known Master Gilbert here since he was a knee-high to a grasshopper. I remember the time he seemed to very much enjoy filling us in every last detail of McGill's childhood. We couldn't get a word in edgewise as she chattered on. Oh yes, they were like peas in a pod, these two. They were forever running off to play together in some secret corner or other. Why, no offense, lady, but we really don't have time to be. But Noella cut Kid dead with a look that said this next part was important. Why, I'll never forget them coming back after making their little promise to one another in the flower garden. Yes, it was a beautiful sunny day, and summer was in full bloom. The little deer swore to spend the rest of their lives together. With a rapt look in her face, Noelle continued, and everyone known ever since that Lady Riddle's heart belonged to Master Gilbert, and no one, no other. Only looked glum. Yes, Noella, because you insist on telling them, which is why I've never received so much as a single offer of marriage. Miguel's eyes shone with delight. Kid, who had been crossing her arms on the sidelines, had just lost her patience. He turned to the group, glaring. Listen here, you old bag of bones. I'm the Master Thief Kid, and I came here tonight too. Before she could finish, Noella had to cut right back in. You came here tonight to steal off with Lady Riddle, didn't you, you rascals? Goodness, I should put you over my knees and teach you all a lesson. What? No! Just shut up, you interfering old bag! I couldn't give a monkey I could give a monkey's ass about your precious Lady Bloody Riddle. Now shut your trap and butt out, will ya? The two glared ferociously at one another while McGill did his best to defuse the situation. It's alright, Noella. She'll be safe with us. Oh, Master Gilbert. He turned to Kid. Come. We will need to move quickly. Hang on, what? Kid's eyes met Noella again. They both realized what McGill just said. Safe with us? What do you mean, safe with us? You mean you're actually going to run off with her? Taken aback, McGill stammered, not exactly, But his words were drowned by the excited yelping. Elopement! Oh, how wonderful, how romantic! I simply must let everyone know. Well left the room, tripping to the light, fantastic as she went. McGill, you conniving little... What about the frozen bloody flame? In a blind rage, it seized him by the collar. Riddle too seemed less than thrilled by this development, and finally lost her temper completely. I suppose she couldn't be blamed. It was only unfair to hold her to a promise made when she was only a child. And besides, she was the lady of the manor. She'd be leaving a comfortable life behind. I looked at her and thought, she must really hate thieves. There's no way she can just leave home like that. I have absolutely no intention of leaving my home, exclaimed Riddle defiantly. Do you want me to live like a pauper? What would father say? Fear not, my love. I have saved all the funds I need to pay for the wedding and secure us a marital abode. As for the honeymoon, our guests will surely help with that. McGill turned to wink meaningfully at Kid and I as he uttered the words, guess. He clearly made up his mind, but since when did he agree to get roped into this? Suddenly, sirens began to go off throughout the manor. That interfering old bag! This is her bloody doing. I know it, scowled Kid. Like days. I asked McGill what we should do. We would need to move quickly, as I said. Come. Wait. They'll seem more a little relieved. Yes, you should probably be going. Next time you come, you can do so during the day, and you can come as not as a thief, but as a friend. A friend? A friend? A friend? A friend? A friend? Oh no, he got friend zoned. We repeated the word friend under his breath in what was almost a groan. And then finally he rose to his full height. No, I will not give up. A clatter of footsteps came from the hallway. Quick, we need to skedaddle, said Kid. McGill picked up Riddle with little obvious effort and slung her over his shoulder. And taking you with me. What? McGill, you can't be serious. Kid stopped dead in her tracks. He put me down. Riddle struggled to break free. Stop that. We have to get out of here. McGill's cape fluttered as he rushed out of the room. Gilbert! Riddle's voice trailed off into the distance. So what do we do now, Kid? We get the bloody hell out of here, that's what. Mag's blown our cover good and proper. We'll have to try another time. We fled from the room as fast as our feet could carry us. Wherever we went, the manor's monstrous custodians tried to thwart us, but McGill's blazed right through them, knocking them aside like they were nothing. Eventually, we managed to escape, though every vessel in my body ached with exertion. For a moment, the only sound in the quiet forest was our ragged breathing, and then the silence was shattered by an enormous explosion. He looked up to see fireworks. I gazed at them in wonder. Wait, what's that? Kid could see something else. A row of figures were waving from one of the manor's balconies. I strained my ears and realized they were cheering too. Congratulations, Lady Riddle! May you live happy together forever! Invite us to your housewarming party when you're settled in! And a kid pointed to the roof of the manor, and looked at the horror on her face. There he stood, Lynx himself, the lord of the manor, and he was crying? Wait, what? He's father of the bride, blubbing like a bloody baby. We were all stupefied. Riddle, who had been crying the entire time herself, gently lifted her head. Why did he have to cause such a scene? I'm sorry, Riddle. I may have overdone things a little. With a flick of his wrist, McGill procured a handkerchief and gently dried the tears from her cheeks. Oh, Gil, you haven't changed a bit. She giggled through the sniffles. A warm light began to appear on the horizon. Look, looks like the night's finally over. Looks like the night's finally over, sighed Kid, and with no frozen flame to show for our troubles. McGill, meanwhile, pointed to the rising sun. Look, Riddle, gaze with me upon the dawn of our new life together. The end. Wait, what? Wait, how do I get to... What? And so ends another tale. Perhaps one day I'll see Kid, McGill, and Riddle again. One day. Somewhere at another time, another world. Perhaps none of us will even realize it. Right, that's the first time another thing. Okay. No, is this the same ending? Not the same ending, but the same thing. Okay, wait, I'm trying to see how do I get to the music. Don't tell me I have to watch through the credits every freaking time. God damn it. You do. I hate it. Okay. The thing is, I have to watch through this because I can't save otherwise it won't count as completed. What I don't understand is how to get to the music stuff. Okay, I'm gonna try doing the music testing because that counts as completion as well. All right. Okay. So let's see. All right. All right. So I'm gonna try to go for the music stuff. I can just reset if like I missed it. There's supposed to be a hidden option, but I tried test checking. All right. So give it to sleep. Room. Go to Village room. Now skip through the text until you see if only had more options. I might have skipped. Maybe I clicked too fast on it. Maybe I don't know. Come on. Yeah, some of these scenarios are kind of long, so I might have to play, like, do another stream after. Right, so I need to look for the hidden options. Okay, so these decisions aren't timed. Evening, ma'am. We're from the local. Can I call you, ma'am? We're here from the Guildsport Chronicles. You've heard of us, right? I said with my most hopeful grin. I haven't, and I don't recall inviting you either. Rose reply came quickly. She clearly wasn't convinced. It twisted my ear. When you're gonna learn to lie properly? Riddle looked at me and Kid in turn. Then it dawned on her. What? Who are you? She stepped back, frightened. Gil's eyes her compassionately and spoke in gentle, reassuring tone. Well, yeah. So I don't see. Should be a third option, right? You proceeds to her bed. Kid nodded. Good thinking. A gag's not gonna be enough. I need to wrap her up good and shove her in the cupboard before I can move us. Blah blah. Hold up. I'm gonna let that autoplay while I'm looking how to do the music tests because this doesn't look right. Do you no longer like me? Came McGill's timid reply. That's not what I mean, Gil. It's just appearing out of nowhere and asking like that. Did a promise mean nothing to you? Leave it back, blah blah. So what? You haven't changed. You haven't changed. You never once stopped to think how I might feel. Have you? When I baked cookies for you for your 5th birthday, you gave them all away at the village fair. You wouldn't dance with me, and these seem like pretty petty things for a noble woman to hold a grudge about. You'll misunderstand. I only wanted to show off what a wonderful gift you had given me, and as for the village fair, I was simply too ashamed of my dancing. The guild defended his decades-old actions as if they had been nothing but had been charged with a crime punishable by death. You come here unannounced with your excuses and expect me to forgive you now after all these years? Widow was clearly in turmoil, her long eyelashes glistened with tears. Do you really think you just show up and start confessing your love and demanding to marry me? Is that how you think ladies like to be treated? She put a hand on Riddle's shoulder and turned her gaze on McGill. Look, Mag, mate, I get it. You two made a promise, and you've stayed true to it all these years. But seriously, she said with a disapproving frown. She didn't need to say the rest. It was clear she thought this was no way to go about wooing one's intended. Luckily, before they could go any further, middle age. Okay, that's the same. Trying to figure out how the heck do you do the music thing? Unless they removed it for. for this. Let's see if YouTube has anything. The maid glared at me. And who might you be? She demanded, eyeing Kid and me with suspicion. Nobody, and we're definitely not up to anything, I stammered as the maid's eyes burrowed onto me. We're definitely not thieves, I pointed out, laughing further about. Then it was Kid's turn to glare at me. You bloody idiot! My turn to sing blah blah. Fine, I'll deal with this. Listen here, you old bag of bones, I'm asking blah blah. Yeah, okay. Okay, I'm seeing what the options were. You must really hate thieves. But am I standing marrying a common thief? The very thought. What? How bloody dare ya? His stuck-up little rage and thinking on a respectable career, ain't that right, Mag? Blah 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 blah. Okay. I'm gonna end. That didn't seem to do anything. I don't see any options at all in here at all. So I'm just gonna go for the normal endings now. I'm not going for the music test anymore. Alright. So I don't fall asleep, and then there's 3 endings where back and forth, and I started feeling very sleepy. I tried to fail enormously, but I had to try to stay awake. Ugh. What's wrong with me? I've nearly fallen asleep. I need to be more careful. Kid would have crucified me for napping on the job. It gave my head a shake to try to keep the wooziness at bay. What a strange situation this was to find myself in, being here now in this place of all places. It all began not long after I met Kid. I guess it must have been 3 years already since I first met Kid. Back then, I was just a wandering musician, telling where my... Wait, is this... Okay, no, this is a repeat of the beginning. Want to check it out? I stood next to Kid and followed her gaze. Redeeming Lord Territory, I trust you're well aware that one false step could be lost. Not saying a word in reply, Kid continued to look deep into the trees of the forest. He said something. His gaze returned to his face. She briefly looked to him, then back to the forest. Very well. If another path awaits us, so be it. Perhaps we'll find something interesting. Without waiting for McGill to finish, Kid darted into the thick overgrowth, as if he let go of a string that was holding her back. Wait up, Kid! I made a run after her. Be on guard, Surge. There's something wicked in the air tonight. I gave him a quick nod before plunging headlong into the darkness. Much to my surprise, we found us almost immediately a golden beetle perched on a large tree. There it is! Cried Kid as she immediately started shimmying up the tree after it. It did have something of golden sheen to it, I suppose, but I was still impressed that she managed to notice it from so far away. She had a keen eye, sure enough, at least when it came to things he wanted to see. I looked up to see how Kid was getting on. Wow, she's fast, I commented aloud. She'd already made it high up into the branches and was about to grab the beetle. Ah! The moment she reached out her hand, it spread its wings and flew away. Get back here! But lost her balance. I jumped on and catch her. Watch out! I rushed in to try to break her fall. Her body started spinning up in the air and hurtled down toward me. Uh-oh. I thought it was going to hurt and threw myself out of the way at the last moment. It was like I did. She landed gracefully on the ground like a cat. All I would have gotten for trouble was a foot in the face. Kid, get back here, you! You're my ticket to riches. Ignoring me completely, she ran off after the beetle. Why can't she ever look at me like she looked at the beetle? We ran to the forest, chasing after what may or may not have been the legendary golden beetle. We hadn't seen it again since it vanished. How was Kid tracking it? Had I asked her, she probably would have just said she was just following her nose for treasure. She stopped in her tracks. Had she found it? Trying to save to the diverging point. Did she find it? Nah, same color, but this ain't our beetle. I peered over her shoulders as I caught up. It was a sunflower? The tall, slender bloom stood alone in what looked like a little patch of sunlight. No one would have taken a big, bright, cheerful flower like that for anything but a sunflower. But what was it doing looking so lively in the dead of night? It's a sunflower, but what's it doing here? Truth. I knew you were thick, but I didn't think you were that thick. Can't you feel it? Something's wrong here. Very wrong. Was it? Took a deep breath. I can smell the forest. You gave me a swift kick in the shins. Thanks a bunch, Kid. How was I supposed to know how to sense stuff? Nobody ever taught me. He ignored me and turned to the highly conspicuous sunflower that had caught her attention. Ah! I screamed in horror at the sight that greeted me. Oh dear! Creepy eyes not unlike those of a drunkard. Long purple eyelashes, a large aquiline nose, thick pink lips. The face of a heavily made up man had materialized in the center of the sunflower's petal. I tried to figure out what exactly I was looking at. It was no good. I just couldn't bring myself to stare at the thing head on. It was just too fantastically pleasant. The merest glance of it turned my stomach. I called to Kid. Kid practically fell over laughing at the sight of it. Not exactly how a normal person would react. I called to McGill. I've seen something like this before. What was it called? Unperturbed by the strange sight before us, McGill calmly sifted through his memories of the magical flora and fauna. He seemed to know what this thing was. It was classic McGill. Not only was he a skilled fighter, but he also had a mind like an encyclopedia. Sadly, looking things up and it always took him forever. How many times have we found ourselves in mortal peril while he sat there pondering? Well, well, well. What we have here? A magnificent sea-beating forest stroll. What do you say, fair maiden? Sunflower turned to Kid and spoke. Its speech was unsettling as it looks. A chill ran down my spine. I ain't your fair maiden, you creepy old lech. Spat Kid. Forgive me, child. Forgive me. I was simply struck by the sight of your deliciously slender figure slinking through the trees and felt compelled to greet you. Gross. You keep your thoughts about my figure to yourself, perv. Of course, my dear, of course. It was clear from his tone that he had no intention of complying. And it was equally clear that Kid was having none of it. Shoulders trembling with irritation, her dagger flashed as she whipped it from her belt. You know what will happen to sunflower? You know what happens to sunflowers who stick their stalks out and start shooting their mouths off like dirty old men? They get pruned. It all seemed a bit excessive, I mean. It wasn't like it could have followed us if we just ignored it and walked off. The kid had made up her mind. The dagger she'd been brandishing flashed from left to right in an instant. The sunflower let loose a horrible screech, like 1,000 cats all scratching on glass at once. I felt weak at the knees, and for a moment my mind went blank. Goodness me, this was not due at all, fair slender maiden. Wanton violence, ill becomes you. What? Kid had definitely cut the flower's head off, and sure enough, there it lay on the ground, but a new flower had sprung up in its place. It was chattering on as if nothing had happened. Tis, 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 hardly the behavior of a lady. Once again, Kid lashed out with her dagger, and once again, I was brought to my knees by that awful screech. This really is outrageous, to think that such a delicate flower could behave so boorishly. Kid quickly set about hacking the head off that one, but a new one appeared in its place, and another as soon as she sliced that one down too. Stop, Kid, the screeching is gonna drive me mad. Okay, I'm gonna save. I'm pretty sure the split's gonna happen soon. I know she's gonna take it, she wanted to take it well, but I decided to try and stop her myself. That's enough, stop! I wrapped my arms around her and tried to pull her back, but she barely seemed to hear me, shaking me off and sending me sprawling to the floor. Well, that didn't go exactly as planned. Next, I asked McGill to try to stop her. There was no point in pretending I could outmuscle Kid on my own. I was going to have to count on McGill for help. I turned to call him over and saw him standing stock and still like a statue, his arms folded in concentration. Not even the shaking of the sunflower could shake him out of whatever train of thought he was lost in. It seemed almost as if he couldn't even hear it. His mask might have been facing Kid and the sunflower, but the eyes beneath it were focused on nothing at all. It was clear that his attention was turned inward, and he was utterly lost in his thoughts. Have you quite finished, my slender saucepot? You'll only tire yourself out swinging that thing around like a lunatic. His shoulders heaved as she panted, exhausted. She flung the dagger to the ground in frustration. Aha! Now I remember. That's a mandrake monster. Whatever you do, you must not try to cut it down, and under no circumstances whatsoever should you try to pull it from the ground. McGill had finally remembered, and just like always, it was far too late. Yeah! Kid gave an almighty roar as she grabbed the sunflower stalk and began ripping it from the earth. The corner of its mouth turned upward in an unsettling grin. and the ground around its roots began to heave and crack. Kid! There was a crashing all around us, as the trees collapsed, and before I realized it, Kid had vanished into a crevice in the lurching earth. Debris and fallen trees blocked my view as the world closed in around me, but at the last moment, I felt a tug on my arm, and I was plucked from the jaws of disaster. McGill? He was soaring through the air with me under his arm. Pull yourself together. We need to get out of here. But what about Kid? One thing at a time. McGill landed at the dome-like cloud dust and soil that had erupted. I stood there and called Kid's name. Kid! 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 I screamed her name into the dust cloud. I wanted to rush in to help her, but there was no way I'd be able to see anything in there. I'd only be putting myself in danger. I waited for the dust to settle, holding back the nerves as best I could. What the? Once the cloud had began to dissipate, I saw a single massive silhouette. What was it? Whatever it was, it hadn't been there a few moments earlier. And then the air cleared, and the moonlight cut through the darkness, revealing Kid! I could only scream her name at what I saw. It was a colossal monster, 7 or 8 times my size. Oh shoot, isn't that Kid on the sunflower thing? A hulking beast covered in exposed muscle and ivy, with hands and feet that resembled sharp pincers of crustacean. Around its neck was a golden scarf of sunflower petals, but instead of a head, it had mind where you're looking, Serge. What? In the heat of the moment, I had no idea what McGill was getting at. Oh, that was McGill talking. Then I finally made a sense of what I was seeing. The monster had no head. Instead, there was sunflower, from which the top half of his body was protruding, and she was as good as naked. Well, not entirely naked. Her chest was covered with 2 small sunflowers. McGill broke me free from horror. If we don't help her fast, the creature created by her rage will consume her. She will die. She'll die? I felt my heart twist inside me. I asked McGill how we could help. What should we do? How do we save her? The more I thought about the possibility of Kid dying, the more I panicked. Calm down, my saucer-eyed friend. There is a way. Kid is in a thrall of a rage, and it is which she binds her to the monster. To free her, we must free her from her anger. And how do we do that? Simple. Hold up. Simple. With love. Love? Yes, love. It's the only way. I will begin the preparations. In the meantime, you must protect her and make her feel your love. Oh, and don't let her cast too many spells. What? He can't use magic. He can now. It was a straightforward answer, but it didn't exactly explain much. Good luck, Surge, and remember, show her your love. Commander McGill, without the slightest hint of embarrassment, before vanishing into the shadows. Wait, don't leave me here alone, McGill. I shouted, but it was too late. He was gone. I was all alone. Love. The word echoed on my mind, and with it, the faint sense of embarrassment. How was I even supposed to make her feel my love? As I stood there pondering, I heard a murmuring overhead. How many times I ain't little? Everybody else is too bloody big, that is all. Take the mick out of me, will ya? How dare ya, you bloody dare ya? I'll kill you all. Fire blazed in her eyes, kid let out almighty howl, and then her gaze locked with mine. Without saying another word, her beastly lower half. I ran. I fled from where I was standing, only just to escape the gigantic road, smashed me around, the impact rolled and crashed around me, and the dust and soul rained down. I stopped. It's me, Kid, it's Surge. I shouted my name at her, but the fierce flames in her eyes refused to subside. Earth shook at as the monster took a step toward me. I was in danger. I had to get out of there. What the heck is that? A group of grizzly goblin guards appeared behind the monster. They must have been come running when they heard the noise. And what the heck is it doing with the human stuck in the middle of it? Its jaw tightened grimly. He spun around and... Nuegazol... Fireball! Cried Kid. No, she was casting spells. Gale more echoed in my mind. This pyro incinerated 3 goblins instantly, turned into ash. Dude, I looked at Kid and hand ran on my chest. I had no idea what I was doing, but I was glad that she didn't seem to get hurt. With that spell, I'd seen McGill throw the odd fireball, but never one so massive. What's more, she let it fly like it was the most natural thing in the world. While I was trying to process what I'd seen, her monstrous form turned to me. I was the target of her wrath once more. I yelled, "I love you! Make her feel your love." That's what McGill had said. I still wasn't sure what the best course of action was, so I decided to do the first thing that came to mind. I love you! I yelled it as loud as I could. I didn't have time to be embarrassed. Suddenly, a shadow eclipsed into the moonlight. Wait! In a panic, I jumped away. The next moment, I heard foot crash down where I'd been standing only a second earlier. I fled, blinding back through the forest. Behind me, I could hear the sounds of trees splintering and cracking as the monster charged after me, pounding the earth with his mighty feet. Who puts their men in a place like this? And who grows monstrous flowers? Sunflowers in their stupid death forest, I yelled at no one in particular. The sun was beginning to lose steam. I saw the trees start to thin. The edge of the forest was in sight. But was I really going to be any safer there? I soon had my answer. I emerged from the trees to see a squad of goblin guards arrayed around a cannon that must have been about 4 times as big as me. I guess it made sense for them to come out in the forest when there was a raging monster in their doorsteps. But that cannon was definitely not going to make life easier. Oi, you! Yes, you, the demon boy! The goblins clearly weren't happy to see me. His face struck and I just ran over them. Alright, out of breath, I used the last of my strength to run over to the goblins, then fell to my feet. Before me stood the goblin captain wearing a spiked helmet and a suit of armor and blazoned with Lynx's coat of arms. He looked up. He was glaring down at me with his beady little eyes, and he seemed like he might be about to braid me with the mace that he carried. I felt uneasy about what I was doing, but it was my only chance. I had to do this if I didn't want to get my skull caved in. Please, help me. We were in the forest trying to catch a golden beetle, and a monster attacked us and took my friend. I tried to help her, but there was nothing I could do. Please, I'm begging you. Help my friend. She's the most important person in the world to me. I begged for mercy, putting on the saddest face I could muster. The goblin captain's eyes softened. Is that right? But this monster's got your friend, has it? Alright, boy. Say no more. We'll help you. We'll help you here. Just see. Thank you. Just goes off to show you really can't tell with goblins. And what a relief it was to know they weren't going to fire the gigantic cannon of theirs. Or so I thought. Oh, a golden beetle, you say? Another treasure for my dearest kid to go chasing after, is it? Oh, lovely. Your Mariku would be laughing all the way to the bank if you could bag one of those. That voice. What did he say, kid? That street rat Steve? Oh no, it had been going so well, but who was this who had just ruined everything? From behind the goblin captain, a phantasmagoric light appeared, making us surrounded with vivid colors and patterns. And then a figure emerged, hair rising from his head like a column of green smoke. It wore a purple cape over a suit with red and green stripes, like some kind of stage magician, and then I saw its face. It's you, the sunflower! Who are you calling sunflower, boy? The stupid plant was playing dumb. I was just about ready to, but then I realized that wasn't it. This is definitely a human. So why did his face look like the sunflowers? As I stood there, gazed, I suddenly pinned down by two goblin guards. I don't believe you had the pleasure. You, of course, are an accomplice of Kid. I, on the other hand, am Prue. Not familiar? Known to some as the green-haired horror, feared throughout the land. Does that ring any bells? How am I supposed to keep track of every freak that hangs around here? I snapped back at him, my frustration getting the better of me. Freak, how dare you call me such a thing? I am a performer, an artiste, and you quite clearly are a Philistine. Oh, spare me the theatrics, I screamed inwardly. He may have not been the sunflower, but he was every bit as annoying, or irritating. No matter, I will teach you to know me. I shall rock your heart with the most turgid fear you have ever known. And then when I have done so, you will never be able to forget me. Yes, when I kill Kid, you will know true terror, a fear that can only be matched by the horror of farting in the bath and seeing the bubbles come floating inexorably toward your face. Wait, what? What? You're no match for Kid. It was out of my mouth before I could stop myself, but it was true. With Kid in her current state, she wouldn't stand a chance. You're absolutely right, dear boy. I don't know where exactly she pulled that little trick from, but with Monster Kid on the prowl, I've certainly got my work cut out for me. However, Prune thrust a finger toward the giant cannon. I have the hyper magic cannon on my side. Never mind her feasible frazzle blast. A single fireball from this old girl will be more than enough to erase her from existence. He beamed with pride. Hyper magic? I never heard of such a thing. I just thought there was a massive gun. Now that I was actually looking at it properly, I saw that the barrel was made up of a series of colorful spheres, and there was no visible fuse. Instead, numerous cables sprawled like ivy down its side, connected to a pedestal in which was embedded a crystal ball. Captain is coming! The goblin guard cry felt like a death sentence. Alright, Maestro, if you could do the honors with the cannon. The captain beckoned Prune over. Stop! You've got to stop! I struggled trying to free myself from the grip of the goblin guards, but they were too strong. Pain shot up in my arms, and my eyes welled up with tears. Alas, much as I have been enjoying our little chat, I'm afraid that business must come before pleasure. Shall we pick up where we left off in a little while? But perhaps you can help with something, right? What shall I say to the Kid before I let her have it? I'm begging you, stop this. I know a little strength I couldn't use match either. All I guess is do is beg. Oh, the humanity. You really do care for her, don't you? Such a pity. He pulled a handkerchief from his suit pocket and dabbed dearly at his eyes. Such high drama. Very well. This calls for a suitable momentous farewell. Ah, how does this grab you? See you in hell, sweet cheeks. Reading with a mad gusto, Prune skipped over to the pedestal connected to the cannon. Stop! 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 My agonized screams echoed around like those of a dying man. I thought I glimpsed a shadow of a doubt crossing the goblin captain's eyes, but Prune was completely unmoved. He placed his hands on the crystal ball. Gentlemen, start your engines. Luega, Zienna, Zaber, Zal, fly, my pretty fireball. See you in hell, sweet cheeks. The cannon shone in vivid light, then belched out a tremendous fireball. Flaming sphere raced towards Kit just as she emerged from the trees. It was a direct hit. Dang, how long is this ending? Flames from the explosion engulfed everything around her, and I was blasted by a searing hot wind. Kid! I've done it! I've done it! I finally slain that beastly little wretch. It's been so long, you know. I remember the last time she came and all the trouble she put me through, but now there's nothing to worry about anymore. Oh, no. All I could hear was Prune's cackling laughter. Kid. I got at the ground and pulled up fistfuls of earth. I was devastated and achingly frustrated that I hadn't been able to do anything. Captain! Cries of horror come from the number of goblins all at once. The gigantic figure was staggering out of the raging flames. Kid? The monster emerged from the fire unscathed, and she was on top, alive and well. Put my hand to her chest and breathed a ragged sigh of relief. Of course, a spell fleeing Danny like that hadn't been able to do Kid in, but it's too early to start celebrating. Why didn't it work? Prune ran towards me with a enraged look of disbelief in his eyes. His smug grin was gone, and beads of sweat trickled down from his temples. Why? And how? What wild magic does that little witch command? I could tell you, but I have to kill you. Ever so sorry, old boy. Trade secret. In a moment's bite, I answered back in its own annoying tone. Prune's face turned red as beetroot. You petulant little... I'll make you spit it out. He picked me up by the collar and shook me. And then... The keening scream pierced the night like the howl of a wolf. Cold chill ran down my spine. It was Kid, but not Kid. The flames vanished in an instant, leaving a silent blanket of fear to settle over proceedings. Oh, ye dead robot. Oh, that goes way too fast. And grandiose as the spell sounded, it was still Kid's voice. No, no, where the heavens did a lowly street urchin learn spell like that? Once before, Prune's face had been incandescent with apologetic rage. Now it was white as a sheet. He hurriedly muttered a few words under his breath, and then, "Goodbye for now, my loves." He flashed across the sky in an instant and was gone. The trump card lost, the goblins panic. "Back in the manor! Back now!" shrieked the goblin captain. The other goblins dropped everything they were carrying and fled inside. I stood there alone on the grass, surrounded by discarded swords and maces. I called for McGill. Hide my hand, O rage and heavy, gather unto me and become a myriad of black prayers. I was stuck. I had no one to turn to, and there was nothing I could do about Kid. While McGill had told me about what I needed to do, I had no idea how to do it. And come on, the split has to happen soon. If I didn't do anything fast though, she'd complete the kind of split spell. She was clearly getting closer and closer to finishing. I really needed a hand. McGill, if you could hear me, I'm begging you, help! I'm sorry to keep you waiting. I turned towards a voice. McGill, the moment I laid my eyes on him, I was stunned. His shoulder was exposed, revealing his sinewy physique. The rest of him was draped in a set of sparkling silver robes. He looked like a monk from some exotic temple. On top of that, a ring of pure light hovered on the back. Yeah, give me something. How many questions about the outfit? It really wasn't the time to ask. What's that spell she's casting? And how do we stop it? What you told me doesn't make any sense. All the questions of confusion had been building up inside of me spilled out at once. How am I supposed to make her feel my love? Wait, we must leave this place first. He grabbed me by the hand and muttered a brief incantation, and off we flew. The ground disappeared from beneath us, and then we stopped in midair. I looked over the manor below. Archimist the Fallen, heed my call and grant me your power. Pale blue light coalesced around the monster and pulled into Kid's hands. Bring death to all that lives. Destroy all that exists. Veil all light in your shadow. Phantom. Break. A power wave of energy surged forth, and 1,000 maddened cries howled as it raced across the ground, devouring everything in its path. All things once blessed by the light were consumed by the spell's evil, and the entire manor melted away into the shadows like thawing ice. Oh dang! Like a monstrous snake, the vile energies writhed and thrashed as they consumed the land, pulling all that they touched into black depths beneath. I was stunned by what I had just witnessed. If it weren't for McGill, I couldn't bear to think about it. A massive crevice was all that was left of the manor. It seemed so deep that at that moment I thought must reach all the way down to hell itself. I scanned the surroundings for Kid and then caught sight of her near the precipice, but she was too far away for me to be able to tell if she was alright. It seemed she was able to withstand the effects of the incantation, but she must surely be reaching the limit of her endurance. McGill's words echoed in my ears. A surge of panic and fear welled up in my heart. McGill, what's gonna happen to the Kid? Shut up for a moment, or for a minute. You irritating brat. My went blank. I've never heard McGill snap like that, or snap like that before. That seems to have calmed you down a little. Good. I paused for a moment, and I realized that I was feeling a good deal less frantic. But surely there was a nicer way to pull me back from the edge. Now, why don't we begin by giving you your own spell of flight? McGill muttered another short incantation, then let me go. My body felt light as I floated in front of him. Envision where you want to go, and your body will take you there. I practiced a few short moments in the air. Now give me your knife. I pulled my dagger from my belt and handed it over. McGill took a white jewel from his robes and held it close to the knife. He uttered another incantation and vanished into my handle. Then he returned it to me. As I told you before, Kid and the monster's body are joined by rage. There can be no saving her as long as that link remains. As I also told you, you must make her feel your love in order to break the link. But how? How am I supposed to do that? I pressed them before an answer, my frustration rising again. With a kiss. It's usually the most effective way, he announced dryly. Okay, so the split's gonna happen soon, I'm pretty sure. And just for a moment, then relax. If that was the only way, then... Why didn't you just tell me that sooner? I slapped McGill on the back of his head. His golden mask slipped and fell into the abyss of the night. It was the first time I ever hit him. His silvery hair fluttered in the moonlight, and two pale blue eyes gazed back at me. It was the first time I ever seen his face. For a man, he was staggeringly beautiful. He wasn't a feminine beauty. No, it was a harder edge in a way I couldn't explain. But it was beauty nonetheless. True beauty. I stared at him, lost in reverie, and then he lifted his hand and brought it crashing down on my head in an almighty chopping motion. Are you listening? The pain brought me back to reality. Or the pain brought me back to reality. I understood. Now wasn't the time to be bewitched by my ally's preternatural good looks. I had to concentrate on what he was telling me. If we allow the kid to recite herself one more time, she will be forever lost to us. So get down there and kiss her. And if you find yourself unable to do that, then stab her with your knife before she can finish the incantation. The jewel I embedded in it is enchanted with the power to absorb souls. While possibly a rather brutal means of saving her, it's our only other option. I thought about what he had just told me. So I had two choices. Kissing her what's the best option, but could I really just go and do that? But if I didn't kiss her... McGill spoke again, interrupting my panicked pondering. I will begin preparations for the rite. During this time, I will not be able to help you. What? I thought McGill would be coming along to look out for me, but no. I was going to have to go out and face Kid on my own. I don't know if I can do this alone. Alright, I'll do it. I'll go save her. That's the spirit surge. Now hold on to that determination. You will need it. I felt McGill's stunning blue eyes staring into my soul. Then I found myself lost in those beautiful pools of light. Now go. Show me the power of love. I felt my body overwhelmed by McGill's most powerful of spells. Cheeks grew hot. No, I have to focus, Kid. I need to think about Kid. Yes, the confidence to go down there and do what needed to be done. The bravery to stand firm in the face of adversity. I was filled with determination, absolute determination to save her. McGill gave me a magnificent grin, and I descended from the sky. Go to her. I flew through the air, rushing toward her. She must have noticed me because she looked up. Okay, I can't save anymore, so it's about to happen. Her face was crisscrossed with angry red marks. The monstrous claws of her lower half reached up to snatch me from the air. I dodged just before they struck and flew up an arm straight towards Kid. Her lips moved as she began to casting a spell. I readied my knife. I hesitated for a moment. I used the knife. Once I thought, well, there was no going back. I pulled out the knife, shaking with fear. I couldn't bear to lose her. A certain fear welled up inside me. I looked at the kid's eyes and knew that I couldn't possibly kiss her, but I didn't want to lose her. Fear and panic drove me to grab the knife. The blade connected with her hand and hot red blood dripped down it, and then the white orb embedded in the knife began to glow. She covered her face with both hands and began to writhe in pain. Kid! I held her tight as she suffered through the enchanted knife's effect. Kid, Kid, Kid! I gave her name over and over again, but she didn't answer me. She only moaned in pain. I really regretted what I'd done, and then I began to pray. Please, I beg of you. If there's anyone up there, please, you have to help Kid. Kid went limp in my arms. Seemed my prayers had done something, at least. Kid, I whispered softly. There was no reply. Fearfully, I held my hand above her mouth. She wasn't breathing. I couldn't feel her heartbeat either. Kid! Screamed her name, holding her tight. Having lost its head. The monster split into pieces and crumbled to the ground. I went uncontrollably holding Kid's lifeless body close. Third, she is not dead. Her soul lives on within the gem. I looked at the knife. The white gem embedded in the hilt was still there. How could Kid be inside it when I was still holding her in my arms? Either way, being told that her soul was inside the jewel did nothing to stem the flow of my tears. I held her tighter and continued to cry. Suddenly, McGill forcefully pulled her out of my arms. What are you doing? Pull yourself together. You decided you were going to save her, didn't you? And now is time of action, not weeping or wailing. You still have to work to do. McGill's sudden rebuke echoed through the still air. I stood there complete and dumbfounded. The flesh is merely a vessel, not much different from the clothes you wear. Put simply, if we find a new clothes for her soul, she will live again. And said McGill, more gently this time. What do you mean exactly? I asked McGill what the hell he was talking about. Ah, it seems you've gotten your nerve back. Very well, I will tell you. I mean to find Kid a new body. What? You mean Kid's got another body somewhere? I blurted out. If you allow me to finish, I do not mean another body of her own. I was thinking of an ancient magical technique, the creation of demonoids. I knew that all kinds of ancient magical techniques existed, but I never heard of any that could be used to transplant souls. I could I couldn't believe what I was hearing. Is that really possible? The air around McGill suddenly changed, and his mask was plunged into shadow. Oh, more than possible, and there are many options to choose from: dragonoids, wolfoids, beetleoids, deviloids, lizardoids, freakazoids, demonoids, noids. The list of frightening sounding possibilities went on, and my heart felt heavier with every word. If you were to dump her souls as some kind of monster, there was no doubt that I'd be her first victim. We had to find a cute demonoid or kid, if only to slightly improve my chance of survival. The world's a big place, I thought. There had to be one somewhere. Impoids, hecaranoids, lavosoids, lavosoids. Ooh, Lavos. Okay, that's like a hint, or a nudge to the original. I remember because I know about I know a little bit of Lavos about the at least Chrono Trigger lore. You can choose whichever you wish. I recommend a Lavozoid, so no a body. They're the most powerful. All right, McGill. Enough already. Okay, cool. I am not watching the credits, so whoops. I'm just gonna restart from the split. So I'm gonna do that again. There's three endings technically for the second scenario, or not second scenario, third scenario. So I'm gonna go ahead and get all three endings. So the first one is obviously to kill her. The second one is to get killed by her. The third one is to actually kiss her. Now I'm gonna die. And you figure out how the options to do that. I changed my mind. No, considering was the only way to save her. I got to stop her before it's too late. I raced through the air, my right hand in front of me, clamped it over her mouth. Just moments before it was too late. I said a few words and then kissed her. Kid. I never thought her first kiss would happen like before I could plant my lips on her. On hers, her hands had wrapped around my throat. He grabbed her arms and tried desperately to tear them away. She was impossibly strong. There was no way an ordinary mortal like me could escape her grasp, but I heaved desperately at her arms nonetheless, and then miraculously her fingers slipped. I took the opportunity to free my neck and spin around behind her. I pulled back for a moment, and before I had a moment to think about what to do next, her monstrous lower half was swinging toward me. Wait, a shock ran through my body. I was trapped. I couldn't move. Future had caught me in his monstrous hand. I was pulled closer to Kid's face. He chuckled for a moment, then burst into full-blown hysterics. Red liquid was dribbling from her mouth. Unperturbed, she lifted her hand to her brow. She was starting to cast a spell again. A hit of cold horror ran through my body. I tried to break free. I struggled with all my might to break free, but I couldn't make a muscle. There was no change in Kid's expression. Her eyes swiveled this way and that, mad and unblinking. A light began to glow in the palm of her hand, and she let out a crimson howl. Hot blood splattered my cheek. Kid! I screamed with all my might. Then a ray of light shot down from above. It severed a monstrous arm, freeing me from its clutches. Search now! I pressed my lips to Kid's. Heeding the command, I leaned forward. Wait, what? Wait, hold up. I'm resetting. I'm trying to get myself killed. Am I supposed to not do anything? Because I want the kiss to be the actual ending that I save. Okay, maybe I just don't do anything. If I don't do anything, I'm assuming this is a time decision, right? Nope. I rushed in as fast as I could to cover her mouth. The erection was in front of me. I clamped it over her mouth, and just moments before it was too late. I went straight in for the kiss. I moved my hand to the cheeks, waiting for a kiss, but she cut me off with the right hand and started pushing my face back. I pulled back for a moment, before I had a moment to think about what to do. I moved around behind Kid, and Monster's hand raced after me. Last chance, if I knew it now, I'd be dead. I left the hell and I pressed my lips to hers. What? Okay, I'm gonna try one more time. And if I don't get it, I'm just gonna stick with that. Um, most likely the dying ending was probably a lot earlier decision, possibly. Is what would be my guess, but I could be wrong there. I recoil. Something is warm on my cheeks. Shock right through my body, I was trapped, I couldn't move. The creature caught me in the monster's hands. I was pulled closer to the kid's face. Took a moment and staring at okay, that's the same. He had no more spells. I screamed desperately to the kid, stop. There was no change in the kid's expression. Her eyes rolled while blinking. Hot fire in my face. Kid, I screamed all night, and then a ray of light shot out, screaming from clutches. Search now! I pressed my lips to Kid. Eating my voice's command, I leaned forward, pressed my hand to her cheeks and my lips to hers. Okay, just gonna go with it. Screw it. Holy power is above. Please save Kid. Don't leave me alone, Kid, I thought. I concentrated on that thought alone. Well done, Serge. Now hold on tight and leave the rest to me. I opened my eyes. Kid's face was still right there in front of me, and looked like the kiss must have worked. But her gaze was vacant, and her body was limp. Beautiful for her well-being, I held her onto her tightly, just as McGill had instructed. He meanwhile was up above us, floating there with his arms crossed, the full moon at his back. It looked like it was a posing golden statue. Suddenly the clouds beneath his feet parted, and he began falling to the ground, as if gravity's pull had finally caught up with him. The moon calls to me, my lady calls to me, slay the demon, she cries. Used with this lunar might I strike, by her command this impurity to smite. Greet my foes, almighty crescent. The ring on McGill's back glowed with an even more brilliant light as he raised his foot high over his head. And then his heel flashed like blinding moonlight as it plummeted down toward the kid. Dramatic pause. Demon slaying heel of her lunar majesty. Huge glowing cracks appeared on the body of the monster, running down from Kid's torso. Her body collapsed into my arms as the spell was broken. Then powerful light erupted from deep inside the creature, spreading throughout its hulking mass before pulling inward as it imploded, taking the monster with it. All that remains was a small note of light, which rose up into the sky and vanished. Kid drifted into consciousness in my arms. Her skin had regained its normal rosy complexion, and the greenish skin was no more. You'll be okay now, I whispered to her. Be at ease, she will come to her spirits once her spirit settles. Oh, and cover her with this before she wakes. I fear we might find ourselves in a prickly situation otherwise. Miguel offered me a silver cape. He was right. If we left her naked, we'd have our guts for garters. I quickly snatched the cape from Miguel's hand and wrapped it around her body. Yeah. He was back with us. My heart pounded as I watched her face. She was starting to open her eyes. Hi, kid. My voice shook as I spoke. Serge? Mag? He looked around groggily as if waking from a dream. And then a short moment after our joyful reunion. You bastard saw me naked, didn't you? I felt a dull thud, and then pain echoed through my head as if I had been struck by a hammer. What the hell, kid? You only just woke up. I looked over to McGill, who seemed to have made a timely exit. That jerk had left me alone. At that moment, I wished bitterly that I too could sink into the shadows. He looked at me, trying her best to focus. Serge, you even kissed me, didn't you? I realized I was good as dead. How did she even remember that? She fixed me with a gaze that was unsettling reminiscent of the sunflower monster. I can't lie, I saw everything, and yes, I did kid. I could do nothing but confess my sins and hope for mercy. Kid sneezing my collar. I knew it! I bloody well knew it! He began to slap me back and forth across the face with a free hand. You bastard, no one's ever seen me naked before, and no one's ever kissed me before neither. You bastard, you utter bastard, how bloody dare you! She kept slapping me as she screamed, and I couldn't tell if she was angry or just upset. And then she finally stopped. She finally finished, I thought. Maybe this week all blow over in a few years, and then I realized why she stopped. Don't you dare look, you scumbag! She screamed, threatening to pierce my eardrums. Her face smashed into my jaw. Her body was briefly airborne before crashing to the ground. She rushed to pick up the falling cape and cover herself again. Just then, something rolled along the ground toward her feet. Those black and white stripes, it was clearly sunflower seed, but it was as big as a fist. Seeing this only poured more fuel on the flames of her wrath. Flew to blind rage, screaming every obscenity known to man as she jumped in, stamped on the seat, and then she grabbed it and hurled it into the air with all her might. Luiga, Sienna, fireball! Blast of flames shot from her hands. I hurled into the sunflower seed, engulfing into blazing inferno. What the? How is she still using magic? I thought to myself. That's what I was thinking too. I started to focus on the enormity of everything and that had just happened. Finally caught up with me, and then my mind went blank, and I slumped back to the floor. Hid. McGill appeared behind her as if he suddenly risen up from her shadow on the ground. McGill, she hissed. There you are. She turned around and her face was alight with sunflower fury. Her eyes burned with rage as she stared at him. Wait, you have to listen. Luiga, Sienna. Kid ignored McGill's pleading as she started casting another spell. That sunflower seed. It was worth 1 billion G! Fireball! At that moment, Kid's face twisted into an expression of, I don't know what. But when her shoulders slumped and she trudged away sadly, I had an idea of what she must have been feeling. That said, I couldn't believe that horrible sunflower seed could have been worth so much. Nor could I imagine who would buy it. I asked McGill why Kid was suddenly able to use magic. He told me that it was a side effect of the sunflower's curse, and apparently she'd always had a latent talent for spellcraft. Don't be sad, Kid. Come on, now you can use magic. Won't that make things easier for us for our next big heist? I clapped a friendly hand on her shoulder. She slowly turned to face me. Tears were streaming from her eyes. I sighed. It was clearly going to be a while before she was herself again. Okay. Alright, so this is pretty much the same as There Goes Another Tale or something like that. So this is pretty much the same. I'm gonna let the credits play because I have to do that because we're gonna save. Unfortunately. So I will BRB and be ready to do the next scenario, which may be the last. I don't know if I'll be able to do them all because some of them seem longer than the others. But yeah, but for now, I'll be right back and credits playthrough. Alright, I am back. It looks like just in time too. Sweet. Alright, so I'm gonna do... Depending on the next area, how long this next scenario is, I may or may not do another one. Alright. Okay, so scenario 4, I need to fall asleep, go to the study, and check out the painting. Okay. So let's see, go to study. Left. Alright, went inside. So examine the painting. Alright. I checked out the paintings. I stood in front of one particular prominent painting on the wall and examined it closely in the pale moonlight that shone through the window. It was an oil painting depicting a strange scene, the likes of which I've never seen before. It showed an endless red desert stretching to the horizon. Above it hung a deep orange sky, presiding over a range of impossibly tall mountains. And though didn't seem to be at night, I could see stars? Were those stars? What was this landscape? It seemed completely out of this world, and the longer I looked at it, the more I experienced a strange sense of sadness. I felt like a lone fugitive in a foreign land. I realized then that McGill was standing behind me. Oh, sorry, Mag. I spaced out for a moment. For a moment, I took McGill's piercing gaze as criticism for becoming so absorbed in a painting while we were deep in enemy territory. I was wrong. He stayed exactly where he was, his gaze fixed even after I stepped away. I never had much of an idea what McGill was thinking, and tonight had been no different, until now. Suddenly I saw the content of his mind laid as bare as if I opened up his head and peered inside. A fire burned within him. It was as if Maxwell's demons had given him a free pass on the second law of thermodynamics. No. It was as if all the free helium and hydrogen atoms around us had suddenly undergone thermonuclear fusion, and the resulting neutrinos could be observed roiling in a glass of water. That's how much he was on fire. The expression was blank as it had ever been, but whatever flowed beneath it had clearly caused a massive jump in temperature. Serge, if anything happens to me, I want you to take care of Kid. What the hell is that supposed to mean? The question never reached my lips. The answer was very clear. Sometimes a fire runs through a man's veins, and all he could do is launch into an epic battle he might not come back from. I finally found you. He was still staring at the painting. His gaze was so piercing it could be shot through the walls and impaled Cronus, the father of the heavens. It was clear to me that this red-hot intensity had been burning deep within him for a very long time, kept just barely below boiling point, trapped under his expressionless mask until now. Guys? You alright? You both seem kind of worked up, said Kid cautiously. Throbbing veins of our temples, carrying hot blood to the heart, pounding manly hearts had illuminated our surroundings with the blue glow of a Cherenkov reaction. Horizontal stripes of light in a sort of pastel indigo shade pulsed violently across the background behind her, and left half her face, a gigantic 2-inch bead of sweat was trickling down her cheek. What was the point of trying to explain? You never understand what it means to be a man. A real man, with an uncontrollable urge to drench himself in the blood of battle. Don't you see, kid? McGill is about to face his ultimate enemy. If you know what it means to be a warrior's wife, wish him farewell with a smile, even if it hurts to do so. Crack. Oof. That's enough to bring you back to Earth. That enough to bring you back down to Earth, big man? Or should I aim a little lower? Huh? What was I doing? You have to admire Kid's dedication. In order to wake me up from my testosterone-fueled reverie, he carefully undone the laces of one of her boots, taken it off and put it to one side, and then axe kicked me in the head with her heel of steel. But what's got McGill all working up? I'm not sure. I guess it must have been something to do with links. As soon as we came in here, he saw that painting. Hot blood is pumping from his forehead at 50 cc per second, pointing a wavering finger at the oil painting at the desert. What? What about the bloody painting? She clearly hadn't enjoyed my spaced-out excuse for an answer. She picked me up by the collar and look of bewilderment and frustration on her face. McGill was standing still in front of the painting, bathed in a blaze of blue fire, and then amid the flames, I saw a pattern starting to form on the back of his tightly clenched fist. It was kind of a symbol, a slanted broadsword overlaid by the letters S and P, all in blue. My friends, we have no more need for keys. Having discovered who Links really is, I feel no reluctance to unleashing the Pan's true power. May searing blue flames guide our way. What? I don't know what you're talking about. We're on about at the best of times, mate, but what that was just gibberish, And on that bombshell, we decided to leave the study. Alright. Can you go to the storeroom? This room's supposed to be a place of dump. Kid poked her through her head, saying blah blah with his hand. Okay, this seems to be the same. Wait. Well, maybe if we go... The story stops making sense. What story? Fine, have it your way, but don't say I didn't warn you. Let's go look a bit further then, shall we? Kid took the lead. I wasn't quite sure who she was talking to. Is this supposed to be like a fourth wall break scenario? I didn't know what the sensation was at first, but the further I went into the room, the more I felt it. A profound uneasiness. What's that sound? I didn't notice it first. And what a strange sound it was. It was a low, intermittent hum, just quiet enough that I wasn't sure if I was hearing it or feeling it. It was coming from above. Up ahead. It was cold, flat, unfeeling, and unlike anything I'd heard before. It seemed fascinated by its strangeness. He ventured further and further into the room. Over here! He'd gone all the way back to the room, back to where there was no light from the hallway, nor moonlight from the window. But it wasn't entirely dark. What the heck? There was little lights like fireflies blinking on and off. Unlike the fireflies, there weren't just green ones. There were red, blue, orange ones, and all the other colors. I'm not sure how to explain the thing that all the lights were stuck to. Compared to the rusty pieces of junk closer to the door, it had otherworldliness that gave me goosebumps. As my eyes grew used to the light, I saw there were other similar objects in the room. They stretched from floor to ceiling. It was as if the entire back half of the room was one gigantic machine. What's Lisa doing with all this stuff, I wondered. And I remembered the uncanny feeling I had when I saw the painting in the study. I didn't want to admit it, but this feeling was similar. I couldn't put my finger on it how, though. It was the same blazing intensity that just had taken it back of McGill when he saw it, and still had a hold of him now that I mentioned it. Boy, Serge, what are you doing over there? We found something. I hadn't noticed, but that I've been left all alone amid all the strange contraptions. I hurried over to Kid and McGill. Kid, I found something that looked like another gigantic box. This one was just slightly taller than McGill, and there was a set of double doors on the front of it. Bugger, sorry, false alarm. It's just a bloody fridge. He was right, it didn't look like one, which begged the question of why she even called me over so excitedly. Kid, you can't just say fridge, they haven't been invented yet. Snapped McGill, cutting me off entirely. He'd beaten me. Oh, fine, let's just ignore it. It ain't worth much anyway. She gave me the red story kick and turned away. Beep, 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 beep. The moment she kicked the box, she got on both legs and began imitating a shrill note. Oh my god, is your refrigerator running? Is it a refrigerator running joke? At the same time, as a low, quiet hum became louder. Oh, I'm just gonna I'm not even gonna read through that. That hurt my ears. Okay, no, okay, that's better. Two impossibly powerful-looking arms emerged from both sides of the box, and then a cuboid head popped from the top. It had two big round eyes and a gigantic mouth, with what appeared to be a row of clenched teeth. On top of the head was a ribbon-shaped parabolic antenna that spun around steadily round and round. It fell to the floor, laughing at how utterly anachronistic this new arrival was, and to think we've been worried about fridges not having been invented yet. Seemingly offended, the box-like machine, okay, robot, flung open the doors on its chest, revealing two thick, menacing-looking cylinders. Okay, they were Gatling guns. Each was flanked by a set of 3 gears, all... oh god. I'm just clicking through that hurt my... not hurting my eyes, but... holy crap. Kid was laughing so much as she ran around in circles, trying to avoid bullets, that she worked herself into a choking fit. Kid, Serge, get down! A sonorous voice resonated through the gunfire. Aha, the limited edition Mars Marauder, my nemesis of so many Christmases ago. I know your weakness all too well, old friend. McGill leapt up, nearly touching the ceiling when struck with a blow that could have crushed boulders. With a single strike, the battery compartment holds 2 size C batteries on the robot's back was shattered. Are you alright? Gave his full-set tones as he landed gracefully. He was, of course, still burning up on the inside. Okay. Oh, ah, ha, ha, ha. Hey, I think I've literally split my sides. The kid was crouched on the ground, clutching her stomach and still giggling, but she didn't seem hurt. I was also fine, by the way. It doesn't look like there was anything left for us here. Let's look elsewhere. Leo stopped mid-sentence and arched his eyebrows. He walked over to the robot's remains, pulled out the curious odd object from within him, and stuffed it into his pocket. What's that? Oh, just something that might come in handy. I had no idea what he was talking about. Well, shall we? McGill seemed suspiciously cheerful, but I decided to leave it for now. Yeah, I couldn't help but wonder, what was the strange mechanical doll? Yeah, I know it was a robot, but can we try to play along with this whole historical accuracy thing for just 1 minute? And what had it been doing in Lynx's manor? What had McGill called it? A Mars Marauder? And what was going on with him exactly? There was something different about him. I've never seen him cheerful before, let alone incandescent, which he still very much was, by the way. It's probably a bit late to ask, but who was he, really? And what was his connection with Lynx? Pulled along by these frankly thin mysteries, the story charged inexorably toward its inevitable conclusion, like a train whose Driver made a quick exit from the window. If you want to reset and play a different scenario, now's your chance. Door led back to corridor, which stretched to the left and right. Rightward. Where was this to go? Let's go downstairs. So I'm assuming it means down the stairs to riddles. Yep. Okay. Cool. A shimmering curtain of light appeared around us, blocking our way. I didn't know what the light was, but considering where we were, it was safe that I was far from harmless. Hey Mag, you reckon you can break that ball thing with your magic? He was talking about the source of light, a round object that appeared to be carved in the floor. A circular channel ran around a distance through which light pulsed rapidly, giving rise to a curtain above. Was this one of the defensive magical signals I've heard rumors about? What's the holdup? Let's make it explode, will ya? May come across a vehicle you couldn't blow up yet. You'll ignore her, stood in her way, eyeing the magic circle intently and making no attempt to cast a spell. I'm gonna freaking lower the volume of this because, oh my god, my ears. Oi, Mag, you listening to me? Kids narrowed her eyes, then crept up to him, reddening to the most brutal weapon she had in her possession, her right elbow. Okay, now I can increase the volume back. But then, is that a widow bunny? As soon as she saw that what McGill had retrieved from his pocket, Kid's eyes shone with delight and wonder, and her eyebrows jumped like two surprised caterpillars. Yes. Well, actually, it's kind of a replica of a creature known as the Lesser Martian Bunny Bun Bun. Let's just call it a toy bunny. I'm lowered the freaking volume. Holy crap, that's really annoying. McGill was deadly serious. Meanwhile, Kid's eyes appear to have been replaced with giant throbbing heart symbols. And then he thrust his hands up the bunny's backside. At this point, I should probably mention that the toy was a puppet. So, what are you gonna do with this lesser bunny bun bun? Kid had clearly suffered a critical hit to her mental faculties. It was left to me to ask the question. I tried to do so as casually as I could manage. It dawned to me that this time, this must be the object McGill had put in from the wreckage of the robot earlier on. Oops. Anyway, you've probably forgotten it by now. McGill had been gloriously fired up since seeing the painting in the study, and Inferno was still raging within him, which meant that this was probably the best not to provoke him, and I just made a blunder. You mean lesser Martian bunny bun bun? Right, the lesser Martian bunny bun bun. Good boy. He nodded solemnly like a philosophy professor who just related some great mystery of life. Anyway, now that's settled, let's move on. He turned his back to me, facing the magic circle once more. Wait, what do you mean that's not settled? We didn't settle anything, I demanded inwardly. Plot to Brada, Nikto. Completely ignoring my obvious frustrations, McGill began to recite a strange spell, twisting the bunny. Sorry to lesser Martian bunny bun bun, into all sorts of peculiar poses. The bunny dance seemed to be having an effect, and a curtain of light faded a little, leaving me to wonder if anything was ever going to make sense again. Surge. Miguel turned to face Kid and myself, staring me solemnly in the eye. He thrust the bunny, sorry, the lesser Martian bunny bun bun, into my hands. I'm leaving this in your care. You'll know when to use it. Oh, and how exactly am I supposed to use it, Mag? The light ain't completely gone. You sure it's safe? Asked Kid. At some point, she snapped out of the bunny spell, and she was right. The magical circle seemed to still be in effect. The point of the curtain light is not to keep things out, but rather to keep an even more dangerous light in. It would be risky to weaken it any further. A dangerous light? Then what are we doing hanging around here next to it? Fear not. The toy we found has the ability to nullify effects. That's why it's essential for handling the frozen flame. I had no idea what he was talking about. Anyway, we pressed safely through the barrier light and eventually arrived at the large door which we opened. Something felt off, even more off. We found ourselves in a very strange place indeed. It wasn't that it was bad or wrong. It was just like I said, strange, stranger than anything I've ever felt before. It felt like going to the shop in a foreign country and buying a pack of 12 crayons, only to find that it had too many purple ones and not any blue ones. Something like that. So you finally arrived, you flea-bitten monkeys. The shape toward us, or towered over us to the left, like the figurehead of a boat made hideous with bits of metal and throbbing veins, was Lord Lynx. And with him was a giant crystal that gave off a pulsing red light. So this was a frozen flame. Lynx, finally showed your ugly mug, huh? I was waiting long enough. Kid glared at him with a bestial sneer. I'll make you pay for everything you've done, she shouted, then ran straight for him. Or maybe she ran, then shouted. I don't know. Anyway, she charged at Lynx like a rubber band fired from a finger gun. Ah, kid! Like a film reel playing backwards, she was thrown away from Lynx as forcefully as she'd run toward him. I rushed over to help her back to her feet. Foolish primitive apes. This room is filled with devices designed solely for the purpose of protecting me. Devices so sophisticated your tiny brains could barely comprehend them. They'll never lay a hand on me, or never lay a finger on me, even if you spend the rest of your pathetic lives trying. Really pleased with his little speech, Lynx broke into a cackle. But much as it pained me to admit, he was right. You weren't getting anywhere near him. Use little... Oh god, what was his name? Lesser Martian Bunny Bun Bun? Ahahaha. You're unusually quiet, street rat. What's the matter? Lost your nerve? I definitely racking my brain for some kind of cool comeback, but he was clearly on a villainous roll. Not for long, though. His face twisted with horror as he looked up towards the warp lines of the ceiling. These ding, lang, 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 ding, ding, ding. Was that a guitar? Exaggerated focus lines like those drawn by comic book artist pens appeared in the air behind Lynx. I followed them to see an imposing figure floating on the front of a stained glass window. It was McGill. He had an amp and a guitar, which he was cradling to his chest, and he's strumming away with a look of rapt concentration. He was a picture of a double denim. He was a picture in double denim, his jacket dotted with studs, and a pair of enormous goggles. He really had nailed the look, except for one thing. The fox mask that was sat on a gently angle on the side of his head was completely out of keeping with the rest of the outfit. McGill? What the hell are you doing? What the bloody hell are you doing? The little kid, who seemed to be on the verge of losing her mind. He didn't seem much affected, though, and kept on playing his guitar. And the transformation happened. Stop it! Make it stop! Screeched Lynx, clenching his head. It seems good old escalator to paradise is having the desired effect. Don't tell me all your awkward high school memories are flooding back. McGill tossed his head back and laughed some more. Wait a second, escalator to paradise? Lynx thrashed and wailed amid the painstakingly produced feature of McGill's guitar. His face went greener and greener, and then finally ballooned up like a cream puff. At the same time, cracks spread across his body, and all of a sudden it broke apart to reveal a mass of slender tentacles. Ugh! That's gross. What the hell is he? Beats me. Don't give me the usual awkward laugh and hope it goes away rubbish, you useless bloody soup. That's there. She could see right through me. Well, I can't do anything. I can't do everything, right? I mean, I got a role I have to stick with, and you know, I have to do all of the narration too. Suddenly, I was cut off by a dramatic sound effect. Oh my god, okay, so it's like a fourth wall breaking ending. While Kid and I were busy bickering, Lynx had completely transformed. Oh my god! Oh my god, he looked like an enormous cartoon octopus. Oh my god. Yeah. So we meet at last. Ooh. Ooh, Martian Mega Mage. Come finally, or I have to use force. The same McGill leapt nimbly down from the stained glass window with a horrid flourish. Sorry, kid. Lynx here. Ulu, rather is mine. I've been chasing this H-class intergalactic felon for 500 years now. 500 years? What the hell are you talking? What the hell are you on about? Sorry, I've had to hide this from you for all this time, but my real name is Lenny Bar Star Spangled with the Space Police. I'm here to serve and protect with the power of rock and roll. To punctuate his big reveal, McGill, I'll be shorter if I use his old name, adopted a theatrical pose before frankly changing his nasty metallic suit. They clearly called him Spangle Star for a reason. Sorry, Spangles, or Star Spangled. Silhouetted by the moonlight, his leg hairs glisten impressively in a blue as he frankly struggled to pull on his crime-fighting outfit. There, I'm ready for action. I finally... Oh my god, they're actually showing it. Cool. Having finally finished his mid-act costume change, McGill moved in on Octolinks. Nice. In case you were wondering what Lynx was doing this whole time, he was biding his time in a sportsmanlike manner, proudly rattling off a list of his greatest crimes and evil deeds. He was an evil alien mastermind now, remember, so he had certain rules to stick to. Let me bar Star Spangle. I knew this day would come. It's your fault that I had to flee Mars and crash land in this primitive backwater. Do you realize what I had to do to survive? I ate my ship's seats and luggage. I even sliced up the driver's seat floor mat and boiled it. And here I was, having struggled for so many years to finally be able to repair my ship's fusion reactor and get ready to fly again, only for you to show up in the same damn day. Lynx thrust out an arm to point at the frozen plane behind him, or a tentacle. I don't know that much about octopuses, okay? Isn't octopi like plural? I knew it. The so-called frozen flame is in fact the Acme Mars cyclone. Oh my god, I knew it. The so-called frozen flame is in fact an Acme Mars cyclone crystal fusion reactor. Well, ulu, I hate to break it to you, but your hard work was all for nothing. I'm going to smash that reactor to smithereens. A flash of light glinted impressively across McGill's mask, followed by a really cool blue pulse across his armor. Fool, I am the Archmage of the Martian Empire. Do you really think that engine repairs are all that kept me occupied this past 500 years? Lynx produced a gun-like device which he had conveniently stowed away somewhere that they turned into self. He turned on himself and fired a psychedelic ray of light. Somewhere I heard the sound of grinding gears, and then he suddenly ballooned to enormous size. Had he been measured on an international displacement scale of megaships, he would have easily exceeded 10,000 tons. Don't just stand there gawping, McGill. Call the space police mothership. It was way beyond the point where the stuff phased her in the slightest. She played along beautifully. There isn't one. Oh. You know, I made the same disappointed exhalation at the same time. I'd have to use a smaller character size if only the font allowed it. Does that mean we're in trouble? Big trouble. I didn't expect he'd have a gigantifying beam handy. Doesn't matter, Wendy Bar Jim Jangle. Weren't you going to smash my reactors to smithereens? No. The walls around... I can still save, okay. The walls around us cracked and started to collapse as the giant Octolinks cackled and reveled in his apparent victory. Wait, was the reactor going to be smashed anyway if the whole manor came down? Looks like it's due to die surge. I'll be decoy Kai while you... McGill was interrupted by a giant battle axe flying into the back of his hand, embedding itself at an 86-degree angle with an almighty thunk. Mag, can you hear me? Stay with us. In a panic, I shook his body. This is bad news. If he died on us, we were toast. The white smoke rushed from his head as he laid there stunned. It didn't look like he'd be making a comeback anytime soon. I reckon it's time we skedaddle, said Kid. He clearly wasn't messing around. Skedaddle? Carrying Magul? Nah, leave him. He wouldn't want us to get... He would have wanted us to get away safely instead of suffering a horrible death together. Probably. His shirt could be savage at times. No, you won't make it. The top fingers of Maggle's spangled gauntlet grabbed my... grabbed my ankle from behind. Let's not get into details about why I was already facing him away from him. Use it. The replica. The lesser Martian. Bunny. Bun. Oh right, the MacGuffin. How could I have forgotten about that strange bunny that he conveniently and quite conspicuously given to me earlier in a completely predictable development? The question was, what the hell was I supposed to do with it? Surge, please. use it to protect Kid. Oh crap, he's about to die. My eyebrows fixed into a rueful arc. I turned to face Lynx. Surge, Surge, he's our man. If he can't do it, no one can. Go, Surge. I imagined kids shouting. In reality, she was popping her head cautiously around a corner and giving me her full support, but watching nervously to see what would happen. Hey, Lynx, get a load of this. And what I thought would be my final desperate act, I pulled the bunny from my pocket. But by doing so, I had caused change I could never have foreseen. You sneaky little... Where did you find that lovely little bunny? Lynx howled with surprise. You're not planning to make it do the little dance that makes the fusion reactor explode, are you? True to the form, Lynx gave everything away. Anyway, I figured it was worth a shot, so I made the bunny do a little dance. Kaboom! No, my precious shit. Wow, it really grew up. What the heck is this bunny, McGill? The Martian Universal Remote. You Martians are really something. Surge, we gotta run. When Lynx defeated, his entire lair began to explode, fall apart. Rather cute. He came up to me, McGill leaning on her shoulder. He looked like a bear being forced to walk by some half-mauled prey, taking a ride on its back, but without it being too much effort because bears. The walls fell behind us as we ran and ran. There was no time to stop and see what had become of Lynx. Mere seconds after we escaped the manor, the entire building collapsed with the force of a red giant succumbing to its own gravity and becoming a black hole. I might really have to watch this. Okay. I'll get you next time, Star Spangle. A collection of tiny little flying saucers stepped outward from the manor's ruins as Link escaped, delivering that most classic of lines. Even I watched the scene unfold as we supported McGill by both shoulders. Well, all's well that ends well. Even Link's got a happy ending. Ugh, the fiend. I never would have expected he had a fleet of emergency getaway ships. He's covered all the bases of being a regularly occurring villain. Though the transparent underbelly of his flying saucer, I could see Lynx and his goblins furiously pedaling on what could look like a tandem bicycle. They probably weren't generating enough power to make it to another planet. Well, boys, looks like our little Lynx hunt will be back on from tomorrow, said Kid pensively. At the time, she seemed kind of glad. And so was I, because our adventures were only just beginning. Was that the ending? Okay, let's see. So there's 3 more endings. Let me see how long they would take. Okay, I think I'll do the rest next time. My throat's getting tired from reading it. I mean, I could technically just not read it. I'm pretty sure people don't want to hear me speak, but I don't know. Oh, it said the Martians. It didn't include Riddle. It said the Martians. Okay, that's a nice little thing. Ooh, I wonder if it says anything about... If it mentions the Martians. Let me see. Did you hear me? Friends here. Like, did we hear... Do you see UFO? Or is it the same manner as well? Today for venturing. No, it's just a manner. Okay. Yeah. Okay. So I'm gonna. Yeah, I'll do the last 3 tomorrow. And once I'm done with that, I'm done with Radical Dreamers. Oh my god, cool. That's such a good it's not an Easter egg. Not the right term, it was just a funny ending. If only I could skip this part. Yeah, it doesn't make it go faster. Nope. Yep. That kind of sucks. You have to watch that. You would think they would have fast forward for this part if they could. Uh, because there's the fast forward in Chrono Cross that they implemented, but technically all they did is enabled it from the beginning because the fast forward feature was already a feature in the original game, but you had to finish the game once before you got it. So all they did was enable it from the start rather than you having to complete it. Which I'm pretty sure, like, there was a Game Shark cheat back then that allowed you to force enable it. So, pretty much all they're doing. But that's funny in the ending. One of those alien things I'm referencing something. I have to let it play out so I can save. Alright. Cool. Great Space Chase completed. There's 3 more. I'll do those tomorrow. Because otherwise, it's probably another hour and a half. I would guess. Yeah, which is the stupid thing is to save, you have to continue. And then save. That's how you save your file. If you don't do that, you have to redo everything again. Alright. But anyway, thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you guys next time.